All right, all right. God bless Mama Liberia. So with no waste of time, I mean, we're trying to manage all of the time we have now. Help. Can you please set up that stuff for me? Sorry for the feedback. Sorry for the feedback. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So sorry for the feedback. I mean, yes, but it's good to be here, and we have with us Dr. Clarence Moneyby. Chief, it's good to have you on. Happy 27. Yeah.
Yeah, the 26th was good. We had a children's party at my house. Over 350 children that came to the house to eat popcorn and eat some food. So it was good. It was a good day spending with the future of our country. So it was a very good day.
Okay, so since you talk about celebration that you celebrated with the children of Liberia, over 300?
All the community kids. It was good.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very happy to see them. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the celebration yesterday. I mean, the national celebration that was held at the Centennial Pavilion, Memorial Pavilion. What was your impression about the celebration? Was it extravagant?
Honestly, to be frank, I did not follow. I did not follow at all. So I'm not.
No, but if you can look around to see whether this thing was extravagant,
Okay.
From the streets, you will get to know.
I will look. I'm going to town shortly. I didn't go to town at all yesterday, so I'll go to town shortly. But listen, at the end of the day, we need to spend less time, effort, and money on carrying out programs and ensuring that the civil servants are paid on time. Looking at our teachers, the teacher salaries are still very low. We need to look into the infrastructure. There's so many things that we have to be able to do as a nation to, redefine, our priorities in a sense. And so, yes, it's good to celebrate our 26th anniversary. We should be proud of it. But at the end of the day, we really need to look at our country and see where we are. For being 176 years old and we have the whole Southeast cut off because there's no road, you understand that there's a problem. For being 176 years old and most schools in this country does not have computers, you understand there's a problem. So, and this has been a problem not only in this administration, for the foreseeable past. For decades and decades, we have underperformed, we have underdeveloped. And so that's why we always say, if we want to change Liberia, we cannot continue to elect the leaders who have been running for the last 10, 15, 20 years. We have to change the face of Liberia. We have to change the type of people who assume power in this country.
So during my research, I found out that you had a conversation with former President Bill Clinton, and he told you that you represent Liberia. I mean, you represent the future of Liberia. And, I mean, you took that so serious,
Yeah,
So are you looking at now, or are you looking at the future? Or you want to build that foundation where you can stand up?
Today is the future. today, everybody who is listening to me, I'm 44 years old, and yes, you really did your research because Bill Clinton, the former president of the United States, he told me that, in private. But yes, uh, I always tell people I'm 44 years old, and a lot of people sometimes look at me and say, "Oh yeah, in the future, 2029, you'll win presidency," or wait. In Liberia, would like to say wait because this is my first time running. And so when people say that, I say, okay, are you willing to wait for development? Are you willing to wait for transformation and change? We have to be very clear that our future, the future, and I think we're about the same age. I'm 44, like I said. The future that we are hoping for and praying
You and who
for,
of the same age?
you know, okay, you know what? I'm not even going to ask you what your age is on
Oh
national
Lord.
radio.
Anyway, we have the same birthday,
let,
but
let,
not the same
let's
age.
just say, no, I said around the same age. Anyway,
Yeah,
so,
but anyway,
but
I'm going to leave
yeah,
it
let's leave
past
it
that.
alone before you start confessing on air. But
No,
no,
no.
but the idea is this: we are the future that we are looking for is today. It's not about 10 years from now. It's not about 5 years from now. If we want to change Liberia, the transformation, the change must start today. We can no longer continue to wait to say, oh, in 5 years we'll have development. Or this person popular, let them go again. This person been running for a long time, that his turn. No, we have to start to listen to the priorities, the policies of the people.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Are we
Yeah, we
okay?
can go on.
We
Yeah, it's
good?
okay. Yeah.
Okay. So no, we have to start to look at the priorities of the people, the priorities of administrations and leaders. But again, I'll just quickly say again.
Okay, so I'm sorry, we have to take this very short break and we want to set up something for you because you are not using the proper microphone. Yeah. Okay, so that one looks very terrible. You have to mute me.
No problem. You can hear me properly. Okay, excellent. So listen, I'll just finalize and finish up by telling the people of Liberia that the future that we are looking for, the future that we are fighting for, is today. Don't allow anybody to say, oh, the future 10 years from now, the future 5 years from now. We cannot afford to wait for development in this country any longer. And even you, as an individual who is listening, if you want to do something, don't tell yourself, oh, I will wait for 5 years. No, begin the process of doing it now. And that's why I'm running for president, because I see the change. I want to become the change that I want to see in my country. I always tell people, if you want to educate a country, you educate yourself. You want a clean country, you clean your home, you clean your community. You want a corrupt free country, don't engage in corruption, don't encourage it, don't support it. In Liberia, we're very quick to say, oh, that man time to steal, or Liberia, that elephant meat. That's encouraging and engaging in corruption. So listen, everybody who is listening, we all must become the change that we want to see in Liberia. And so this future that we are all talking about, where Liberia is better, a stronger country, where we have better schools and better hospitals, so we don't have to take our families to Ghana and to India and places like that, knowing that most Liberians, 99% of Liberians cannot afford that. If we want better roads so that we can't be saying in the rainy season that the southeastern road cut, we have to go to Cote d'Ivoire before we enter Maryland and southeast. If we want to change that, we have to change the type of leaders we have. We have to be very clear about it. To change Liberia's future, we must change the type of people who are running and leading this country. We can no longer continue to elect or select from people who have been running since 2005. It's just not fair to the young people in our generation of this country. 2005 or previously, we cannot, honestly, we listen, it's not about retiring people, it's just about getting people who have not only the qualifications, not only the experience and the vision, but the energy to transform this country. And so we have to start to look for people who have all of that combination. It can't just be one. We have to change this country. So again, what defines a president? Yes, they should be educated, but yes, they should have character. Yes, they should have vision. Yes, they should have energy. They should have all of these qualifications to be able to truly be able to transform our country. And that's what we must demand now. I've been blessed. I've been blessed, from the educational standpoint. I've been blessed through academic degrees, academic scholarships. I have two masters and a PhD. So, from the educational standpoint, we feel like we are fit to lead. When you talk about the experience, we have been blessed to have worked almost 15 years in government in a variety of sectors, which include working at the Liberian Embassy in Washington, D.C., working at the United Nations, working as a consultant to the World Bank, working as a consultant to the African Development Bank high level panel, serving as Minister of State without portfolio in the previous administration, serving as chairman of LEC in the previous administration, where I oversaw and helped to negotiate the Mount Coffee Hydro, where I helped to bring about the CLSG line. So serving as, like I said, chairman of LEC. And I've also served as the head of the Presence Delivery Unit, which oversaw all of the major infrastructure development in the country. So even when you look at the Lofa Road that's being done right now, I help with the negotiations of the contractors. When you look at the Red Light to Banga to Kanta Road, I help to oversee implementation. When you look at the White Plains Water Facility Plant, you look at the new airport terminal, I helped to negotiate the money that was used to build that. So there's so much experience that I have that I'm proud of. And out of all those things, nobody will ever say in the Republic of Liberia or anywhere in the world that Dr. Clarence Muniba stole one single dollar or asked for one single dollar in thank you money. So again, when you talk about wanting a president, we have to be very clear the type of person we want. Educated, I think we've passed that bar. I'm thankful for that. Experience, we have that. Vision and character. These are the qualifications that somebody needs to lead this nation into a new Liberia, into the new 21st century. National. No, listen, the party is, the party is one of the oldest parties in Liberia. We were established in 1996. And so it's a strong party. We have some very strong people, but the only difference is Linus has never taken state power. And so because of that, of course, it's it's not necessarily a name that all over the country, but we are building towards that. I'm very proud. We are waiting for the final reports, but I'm very proud to say that Linus has the third most representatives who will be contesting on our party ticket in this October 2023. We have several senators also contesting, and then of course you have myself and Madam Grace Pan as a standard bearer and vice standard bearer. So we are going to ensure that Linus does politics in Liberia how politics is supposed to be done. A lot of times I always talk to people and they say, oh, Liberian politics, you understand Liberian politics? I tell people I don't want to understand Liberian politics, and Linus does not want to engage in Liberian politics. Liberian politics is the reason why we have the country we have right now, which again is a country that has very little good schools in the country, very little roads. Our civil servants are not being paid. Our police officers are undertrained and underpaid. There's so many issues and challenges. The hospitals, you go to a hospital right now, you go to. Mhm. You sure they don't talk? Listen, we all know the challenges and issues that a lot of our civil servants face in this country, a lot of our police officers face in this country. We know it. We are all living in this country. We've been living here. So we understand the challenges that people have. Even when you look at the police people, I'm sorry, the teachers of this country. You look at the students who are going to school, there's no proper school feeding program. These are all things that has to change in this country. It's so difficult. It's going to be so difficult if, for example, you have a child going to school, second, third grade, they didn't eat breakfast, they don't have no money for lunch. What do you truly expect that person to be able to learn? They are hungry. They're not thinking about education. They are thinking about food. So we have to be able to create a country where we have school feeding programs, where we have, proper teachers who are properly trained and they are properly paid so that when they are teaching, they're not thinking about how they're going to pay rent. We have to change all of this in our country. And so the reason why sometimes when I'm talking, I sound so desperate is because I need the Liberian people to understand that the country we have right now is not good enough for us as Liberians. listen, just no. Listen, I say this every time I go and speak. Liberia will be a great country one day. Liberia will be a great country one day. So if that's true, which I truly believe it is, at a certain point there will be leaders who come and truly transform this country. Just because you walk in and you stub your toe, it does not mean you will never walk again. We are desperate for change, and at some point there's going to be a leader. So that's why when you talk about leadership in this country, that's why I talked about all of the requirements that is needed for a leader: education, vision, character, energy. All of those things must be included for somebody to be able to come and lead. Even if you have a leader who may be educated, but they don't have character, they might be corrupt, then you don't have a good leader. If you have a leader who may not be educated, but has character, but no vision, then again, we fall into the same problem that we have in this country. You need a combination of all of these things: character, vision, education, the competence, the energy to transform Liberia. Once you have that, then you start to see the transformation, the true transformation of Liberia. And again, that's why I'm running for president, because I was sitting home telling myself that I have to become the change I want to see in my country. That's what empowered me and emboldened me to run for president. It's not about, oh, everybody has to be president. No, it's about leading the transformation of Liberia. And I truly believe that our generation will be the ones responsible to transform this country. Our generation. 85% of the people in this country are under the age of 45. 85% of the people in Liberia are under the age of 45. So you already know and understand that the transformation and change of Liberia is going to be on our shoulders. It was good. I thought Nick did a very good job. It was smooth. They were very clear what the requirements were. Uh, they were very clear, what was needed, the timelines that were given. And then even during the actual process of going to SKD, I thought there were a lot of good professionals working at INEC. Listen, there are good Liberians in Liberia who want to see good for this country. That's why this country deserves good leadership. So, I would just like to commend NEC on that process. And then let's see how the elections itself go. The prayer is that it's free and fair, it's violent free as well. But yeah, I was happy with NEC, to be honest with you. I was very happy with their professionalism during the registration process. Now, let's see how the rest of this process goes during the elections. My view on that is that Liberia, Liberia belongs to Liberians. It's not about indigenous or tribe. Belongs to Liberia. Liberia belongs to Liberians. So I think we start getting in trouble when we start to classify. Well, this Liberian is this Liberian has this religion. To develop this country, everybody will have to be involved. To develop and build this country, everybody will have to be committed to understanding that Liberia is bigger than anybody. Right now, we are running for president, but let's understand it. Let's be very clear. Right now, there's a president. Before this president, there was Ellen. Before that, there was Taylor, Dole, Talbot, Tubman. It goes on and on. So there's no one individual, tribe, or religion who has sole claim on Liberia. We have to ensure that everybody has the opportunity. The problem in Liberia, the challenge we have been facing in Liberia is that the opportunities are not fair. They are not for everybody. It's for a select few. Normally in Liberia, I don't care how qualified you are, how educated you are, how experienced you are. What's more important is that if your cousin or your uncle or your auntie has a job in government, so they can bring you on board. We have to be able to change that. And so again, I go back to the idea that our generation will do so. I continue to hit the point. Our generation must be the change that we want to see in Liberia. Other than that, we will continue to wait and country, leave this country to our children to fix. I've already said Liberia is going to be a great country. It's just the only question is if it will be happen. if it will happen when we are alive. If it happens when we are alive, that means we were the ones responsible to transform and change this country. And I pray to God that we would take on that challenge to be able to transform Liberia. Let Liberia be the greatest country in Africa. That's what we should be saying. We need to raise our standards. We need to raise, no longer should we be electing somebody again because they are popular. No longer should we be electing somebody simply because they've been running for a long time. That is time. We need to stop that mentality and attitude if we are going to change the future of this country. So, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. Yeah, I'm sorry. Say that again. To the indigenous, yeah, it's yes, it's there. Liberia belongs to Liberians. So, I would never say Liberia belongs to the indigenous people of this country. Because I think at that point, then you start to decide, okay, but then who's more indigenous than the other one? Are the people from Lofa more indigenous than the people from Bassa? Oh no, it's people from Nimba. No, let's not do that. Let's understand that Liberia is for everybody. Liberia is for Liberians. Just like how when you go to Ghana and you land at the airport, they are very clear. Hmm. 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 Absolutely. Exactly. Ex, ex, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, uh, now, it's so embarrassing. We still got outside toilet. Most of the schools. No, but honestly, so that's why. But honestly, Magdalene, you just highlighted the reason why we have to transform this country by bringing in a new breed of leaders. We are not going to transform Liberia by having the same people out there. I don't know how else I can say it. And again, the reason why I sound like this is because I need the Liberian people to understand the reality of it. If you want a different country, we cannot continue to elect or vote for the same people who have been running for the last 3 or 4 election cycles. It will not happen. We want to change Liberia, we have to change the type of people who represent and lead us. When you look at the WASH sector, it's very clear that even when you look at WASH and less time education, a lot of our young girls do not go to school simply because we don't have proper bathrooms. Something as simple as that. You look around the country, especially if you look at all the different county capitals in Liberia, there's no indoor, there's no proper pipeline water. Most people are still, again, going to the well, going to the creek. I mean, honestly, man, it's 2023 and we're having discussions that other countries had in the 1800s. We have to be able to change that by identifying, at the very least, that in the first year or so, that every single county has pipeline water. The next thing we have to be able to identify to be able to do is that every school in Liberia that is certificated, they all must be able to have some type of water system where at least the water is pulled up and then we have indoor plumbing for bathrooms. Something as simple as that. We have to be able to raise the standards of our people. You cannot say you have a school and then when a girl who is 13 years old wants to go to the bathroom, she has to go outside and use the restroom in a zinc round. And so these are things we have to be able to change. Absolutely. Like I was saying, every single county capital must have pipeline water within the first 16 months. And so to be able to do that, like I said, I helped to oversee the implementation of the White Plains Water Facility plant. And then we also helped there was certain laws that were being passed in 2016 and 2017 that wanted to ensure that every county capital had pipeline water throughout the county capital. Those are things we have to implement. Now it's said by law theoretically, but it's not in practice. So we have to be able to enforce that every county capital in Liberia has pipeline water. That's one. The second thing will be every single school that is certificated and approved by the Ministry of Education. They also must be able to have running water, but even if you have submersible pumps and you have tanks on top of it, but we have to be able to transition our schools and our clinics to that. Once we can do that, then at least we are starting to make serious progress in making sure that people have clean, safe, reliable drinking water and water to use in their homes and hospitals and schools. No, I wasn't late. Though. We were supposed to come at 4. So, since you wanted to bust the secret, the original plan was for me to come in at 4. So, but, no problem. I'll just sleep here. But no, honestly, man, I know that everything was late notice, but, I appreciate the opportunity just to be able to come and talk to the people of Liberia. Mhm, mhm. I don't know, but listen, we have to be able to strive for water in every capital city in 16 months. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. I heard him. I heard him. The unfortunate thing is that uh, that guy who was talking, he once had potential and opportunities. When he was 3 or 4 year old, his family was with him. They were looking at him. Oh, my son will be a lawyer, a doctor. You know, but the problem is, honestly, we cannot blame the people who are addicted to drugs. To be frank with you, and to be very fair to them, we have to really blame the system. The challenge is we do not provide a safety net for the people of Liberia. We do not provide enough opportunities. One. Two, we also have to blame the people who are bringing drugs into the country, the people who are actually selling drugs. You see, the people who are addicted to drugs, it's almost like a medical case. We have to be able to take them for rehabilitation. And so you can't just take these young men and women to a rehabilitation center for them to sit there for 2 weeks and then come out. We have to be able to take these young men and women who are Liberians, who can contribute to our development. We have to be able to take them to rehabilitation centers for 6 months, for example, where they can not only be there, but they can also be learning a skill. Imagine that very guy who was talking right there. If you took him and took him to a rehabilitation center. And for 6 months, he stayed there and learned how to become a carpenter. When he gets out of there, do you really think he wants to go to the streets to start doing drugs again? Or does he want to now start making a business so he can start to feed himself, get a family, and contribute to the development of Liberia? To get anybody out of poverty, they just need an opportunity. So, who we need to really be blaming are the drug dealers. The problem and the challenge is nobody goes to jail in Liberia for corruption. Nobody goes to jail in Liberia for selling drugs. If people start to go to jail, like these drug dealers who are bringing those things in the streets, selling it to our young children, our not even young children, but to the people of Liberia. Imagine if we started putting them in jail and giving them mandatory jail time. How many drug dealers you think will continue to come out and show themselves? It will be very limited, if any at all. So we have to start to take the drug dealers and put them in jail. And we have to start to take the drug users and put them in rehabilitation centers and teach them a skill. That's why I quickly want to jump to my educational platform. When you look at education in this country, what we would insist on, myself and my vice president, Madam Grace Pond, what we would insist on is that everybody who is graduating from high school must have 2 years of technical and vocational training, whether it's carpentry or electrical work or plumbing or masonry, catering, something. So that when you graduate from high school, not only do you have a high school diploma, but you also have a skill that you can depend on. So that will also deter people from wanting to use drugs. Because now, instead of using drugs at 2, 3 in the morning, you have an opportunity to wake up at 6 in the morning and earn some money for yourself and your family. Yeah, August 5th. August 5th, technically, I think we are going to get the go ahead on August 5th. But yeah, August 5th, I think, is when campaign officially starts. Chief, I did not say 6 months. Kayangama. That's a no. Thank you for the people who called. I'm always happy when people call and interact with the show. The first person was mistaken. I didn't say uh, provide water in every single capital city in 6 months. I said within 16 months we have to be looking at achieving that goal, and that's why when I talked about leadership, that's why vision is so important. We have to be able to set targets and goals. One. Two, we have to have the ability to go around and negotiate the funding, have the energy to be able to implement this. It's one thing to say you want to change the country, it's another thing to be very specific. And so that person still also talked about the idea of, of drug rehabilitation. Yes, it's understandable. Obviously, you want the person to be in hospitals longer. But in reality, depending on what drug it is. You cannot be, blanket to say 6 months they need to be in the hospital. That's not true. Within 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, depending on what drug, the person can be detoxified. But also, then within 3 months, they can be able to learn some type of remedial skill that they can now use when they get out. So it's not going to be a one jacket fits all. But at the end of the day, it has to be very clear. The people who are using drugs, we have to give them the opportunity for rehabilitation homes. We have to also be able to give them the ability to learn a skill so that whether it's 3 months or 6 months, when they come out of there, they are now productive citizens for the people of Liberia. Water and sanitation is one of the most important things that you're absolutely right, Magdalene. I'm glad you brought it up, that a lot of people do not talk about. Even when you put water to the side and look at sanitation, Liberia is one of the dirtiest countries in the world. And so I was so confused when everybody was lashing out at that ambassador when he said it. We have to start to identify and understand the truth of our country before we can fix it. We cannot see the sky being blue and then we say no, it's purple just because we want to feel good about ourselves. The country of Liberia right now, the fact that we have piles of dirt. Back in the day, you only used to see dogs picking through dirt. Right now, you see human beings, you see Liberians doing it. So, if we're going to focus on water and sanitation in this country, we have to be able to have a vision and a goal. Again, if Rwanda can be one of the cleanest countries in the world, why can't Liberia? This is the vision that we have to be able to put forward. We need leaders who will stand up to the Liberian people and say, within the next 3 years, Liberia is going to be one of the cleanest cities, or Monrovia is going to be one of the cleanest cities in Africa. That's what I talk about when you talk about vision. We have to have a leader who can talk like that, and more importantly, who can implement that vision. So that's why it's so important when I talk to people. I hope that not only people hear my passion, but they also understand that we have to transform Liberia, and we are going to do it if we are given the opportunity to do so. Say that again. Huh? I will stay here for a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Could you hear?
Let me make sure I got all the sanitary items I need. I'm checking my list. Oh, yeah.
room. We have the link is right there. Yeah, I will not pay the people. Nobody made session. I will not pay you. Okay.
Voice still mistake.
So it's good to have you all on the I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, are you getting me? Can you please speak? No. Can you please speak? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So it's good to have you on. All right. Quickly, we are so much into time, and I sincerely apologize again for that. So today, our topic for today is drug trafficking, and is a transnational organized crime. So today, Mr. Wee Pogba, who is a former Deputy Director General for Administration at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, he's going to lead us. Terrible feedback. He's going to lead us through the panel discussion, and we are so fortunate today to have with us Dr. Clarence Moniba, who's going to be here shortly, and he's also going to make his own contribution. We have Maxime Pacquiao, who is online from the United Kingdom, and we have Phoebe Harris, who is with us today. So yes, others might join us subsequently, but for now we can get the ball rolling. So Mr. Bui Pogba, tell us about this because we have to make it for everyone to understand the topic. We need to make everyone bring it down to the level of everyone. I'm sorry for the terrible feedback, but we are trying to work up. We are working on it to ensure that everything is okay. So we want to ensure that everyone understands. I'm getting feedback. I need help.
What is that?
Okay. The sound system here is a little bit challenging. What's going on? All right. So we will try as much as possible to ensure that the discussion is broken down to everyone's level. So, Mr. Pogba, it's over to you. Let us begin the topic. Our topic today, I'm sorry for the feedback. Our topic today is drug trafficking, which is transnational organized crime. So, what? Just introduce yourself.
Well, thank you again, Magdalene, for inviting us here today. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Also, glad to be here.
Yeah, Maxime.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Okay, what's the time in the United Kingdom? Where you are?
It's about 8 minutes to 6 o'clock. To 5 o'clock, sorry.
Okay, it's so 5. Okay. All right. So, and we have Dr. Clarence Moniba. So maybe if you have questions to ask him, whether he has plans for the for this sector, you can also feel free because he's a candidate, a presidential candidate for the of one of the oldest parties in Liberia. So Mr. Pogba is leading the panel discussion today, and we're going to have from now we're going to have at least 1 hour, 10 minutes discussion.
Okay, thank you, Magdalene. Thank you again for inviting us. We say the topic is drug trafficking is a transnational organized crime, and it is the first predicate offense to money laundering. To simplify that, we know about drug trafficking, the last topic we discussed, why people taking drugs from here and there across the country and in the country that is affecting our people everywhere. But the addition of transnational crime, meaning this crime can occur across border from country to country. And then it's a predicate offense to money laundering. What do I mean by money laundering? Drug issue. Drug has a whole lot of money. When the people who sell drug get more money, they are trying to hide it. I'm trying to make it very simple for our people to get. They try to hide our money. So if you sold drugs and you get money, you're gonna put that money somewhere. At the same time, you don't want people to know. So the process by which you take that money and make it in a way that people will not know is the one we call money laundering. What do I mean? You take the money that you make out of your drugs, you buy some building materials, you build so many housing units, and call people to go and rent those houses. When you get that money, people will not know that that money that you taking from that house, that rent that they pay, or the house they're paying the rent for, is a drug money. So the effort for them to take that money from the dead, source, that is the criminal activities there, to make it a clean money, is what we call money laundering. And these are the things that are occurring here. To add further, we have, it brings about economic instability. you see, if you get a whole lot of money in your hand in the house because you sold drugs to some people, then you keep the money. When the people looking for that money, you hiding it. So the only way you try to do is try to change it to US. You know, we don't have US in this country. The US coming from the United States. So if people changing money for 185, for example, you'll be changing your money for maybe $200. Draw people to come and take that money quickly so that you can get rid of the Liberian dollar. So you got unspecified Liberian dollar that is kept, and then you want to get the money out and you take it out of the country in your bags. So these are all the processes that bring it. So because you can see the rate going up, coming down, going up, coming. We don't know how the rate coming up. We don't know how it's going down. So these are the causes of the drug distribution in our country. Am I clear? Hello?
Yes, you are clear. Maxime?
Yeah.
Marcia?
Yes, I agree. I agree with the senior brother, especially with respect to the topic on our discussion today. And it also let me appreciate all of the panelists, but especially Mr. Moniba, who also is an aspirant for the highest position in government as far as Liberia is concerned. Thank you for coming. It's a great one, so that at least we can have an exchange. This is an issue that we're discussing. That is actually the issue that we're discussing right now, and we've been discussing here, is a serious issue. And everyone who say they are a patriotic citizen of this country, they must be awake right now to be finding solution as to how we can actually get to the bottom of this. I agree. We all know that indeed, for some of us who are informed, that drug trafficking is a global illicit trade, which involves the cultivation and manufacture, distribution and sale of substances. And those substances as well are subject to drug prohibition laws. Now we have, with this description of drug trafficking and our state as we stand today, Liberia, we are faced with a huge challenge, a challenge that any father or any mother is kind of worried that when that 15-year, 14 years who happen to leave the house and they're going out, and they say they're going to a friend party, you are concerned whether they're coming home drugged, or whether they will even come home, because they will be worried, they will be concerned about the news that we're hearing. So indeed, drug trafficking is dangerous, and we have to, everyone as a citizen, like I said, we all have to put our heads together to fight it, because it can also bring shame to the whole country. Except people, if people fail to know that, let me let them know. Drug trafficking can bring shame to the whole country. And I think it's about time that we get on it to fight it, and so that we can be able to have control over it. Over to you. We're not hearing you.
Our drug trafficking.
One of the people hearing you in studio. Are the people hearing you in studio? I mean, I'm not hearing you.
We're hearing her here,
Yeah,
but
we
you're
can
not
hear
hearing.
Okay, I'm asking
Okay.
whether it's possible to have total control over drug trafficking.
You're asking me total control. Yes, it's possible. But I will actually only have to speak to I am today in the United Kingdom. Yes, that is. It will also entails a lot of resources, and people who are actually giving the job to police, or to make sure that indeed such does not enter the country, are well taken care of as well. Once you do that, then definitely you have the manpower. They paid the pay they are receiving is commensurating to the daily life, and also they have the logistical support as well, then you can be able to reach to the bottom of it. And then also, if you don't have people who are unpatriotic to their own country, and they wouldn't want to get involved in such a business or do such a business because they know definitely will harm their children and everybody, then it will also help to control it. But it can be controlled, and the only way it can be controlled, except there is a total support from the government perspective, because government have to make sure that indeed logistical needs are supplied, and then if people are on payroll, they should get their pay on time or so. Just to wrap up on that, they just graduated some of our people. The last time I was there in March, when they graduated some of our young people as well. They are young anyway, for the Interpol, for them to work with Interpol from Liberia, and at least they can be helping to police and be able to fight something like this we're talking about today. And one thing, when I had the opportunity to talk to them there, I told ECOWAS there that, look, this is a great initiative, but what I want you to do is, now that you have discovered these people, you have already trained them, and you're about to deploy them, make sure that these people are paid on time. These people get their benefit on time, because if you don't pay them on time, if they don't have the resources, when they go out there to work, obviously they can be compromised by virtue of what? Somebody coming with drug in the country, and you have not taken pay for 2-3 months or so, and that person giving you something like $10,000 or so. What will you do? You will compromise the job. So obviously, it can be controlled, but we have to invest in it as well.
All right. But on the other hand, you sign up for the job. They told you this is how you're going to be making. So I mean, it shouldn't. As long as you sign up for something and this is what you are going to be making, I don't think you should be able to compromise anything for it.
Magdalene, I just underlined it there. I've signed up as a patriotic son to work as an Interpol officer, as an immigration officer. And then I have my family, I have children. They have to go to school, they got to eat. When they get sick, they got to go to the hospital. And depending on the salary that you are paying me, you're responsible to pay me. And 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, I'm struggling, I don't have money. How do you expect me to survive? Now, even at that, I mean, I could be as patriotic as possible, that maybe I wouldn't want to compromise anything by anybody bribing me at the border to let them go in. But take all of these things into consideration. I am hungry. I'm there. I'm struggling. And then I have not even seen $200 US for 3 months, 5 months. And somebody showing me about $10,000 US there. Is the person not making me mad right there? I'm not going crazy right there. So if we want to fight it, we should start fighting it from the border and making sure that the people that are responsible to police our borders are well taken care of. If not, they will compromise. That one part, there's no joke about it, they will compromise.
So can we put the blame again on the government? Maxime.
Maybe the other question I would leave you for my brother. My brother to answer.
Why you don't want to answer that? You've been answering all the 1,000 questions around.
No.
Okay, but anyway,
I'm already getting prepared to send into the house there. So let you start getting prepared here, but answering the question.
Okay. Fubi Harris is here, district number 9, Monserrado County. And yeah, so the question has been directed to you. Who do we blame? You listen to Maxime, and being underpaid and also not being paid on time is also causing serious problem because you're not being paid. you being underpaid and also not being paid on time. But then you come across thousands, you come across a huge amount of money, and I mean people compromise their integrity because they have families that depend on them for everything. Some need to go to school, some are in the hospitals, and you see the money, then you say, I'm a man of integrity. It's something that I mean. So, what's your own personal perspective on that?
Yeah, firstly, say thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity to be here, and
Yeah, you can speak.
also
I think it's off. Should I open it from here? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, we say.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thanks for the opportunity to be here. And firstly, I want to register the point that fighting drugs is not something that can easily be done, because the great countries around the world are also trying to combat drugs with all their tough measures. They are yet to even do so, to the point that some of them are even legalizing some of the substances, like marijuana has been legalized in some states in America and other places for minimum usage of per people. And also you passing around some community, you even smell it there. You know that the guys sell, and they have regulations so that people to monitor the usage of it. So it's not going to be an easy battle for any government to combat. So most of it, for me, I've been looking at it from a different perspective, as opposed to just fighting drug abuse on the basis of arresting people, putting them in jail, because I think that measure might not yield the results. And the point that you asked, Maxine, the question, it would take somebody of very high integrity to be able to sit at those levels, to be able to refuse some of those bribes that come with the issue of the drug trade, because these guys, it's like a cartel, that they run. So it's not just a one-man show. So somebody, you got a dealer that's selling, you got the main dealer, the importer, you got the small petty traders that you have. You also got people planted in government to ensure that the smooth transactions of these substances move across without any hindrance. So to the point that if you arrest somebody today, a phone call can get that person off. So it's not going to be an easy battle. And some of the guys, they see their bosses, arranging and taking big cash, so they also follow suit. Then when it comes to the point of not being paid on time, that's where the government issue comes in. Because if you say somebody signed a contract to say every month on the 15th or on the 30th, we pay you your salary. Even if we say you sign up for $100, you sign up for $500, we're going to pay you on the 30th of every month. Month one comes, it pass, you yet to get paid. Month two comes, pass, you yet to get paid. Month three, then somebody come and tell you, look, man, I have some kind of 15K for you. Let my substance pass. And you have sat down for 3 months without taking pay. Tell me what are the temptation to collect that money, and you find that the first thing, whatever they're offering you, is even more than your 3-year salaries. So the temptation to resist that is high. So definitely you will see people taking those things and letting them pass through. So those are the things. And that's where government comes in. When some people sign up, even if that $1 you say you want to pay them, pay on time. Because payment or salary is like a lubricant of the economy. It keeps the economy moving. But if you don't pay people on time, you definitely give them reason to start to do unorthodox things that might sometimes, they will have the intention not to do it, but the constraint of all those stuff will force them into accepting some of those things because they have to keep their families going. And so those are something that I think we have to also pay attention to. For me, I'm more in line with the rehabilitation aspect and how can we manage and control and get some of the fun opportunities. Because, for example, I'm selling drugs to survive. If I have a better business and the economy is open and government can provide some better opportunities that I can do something else than selling drugs, I will go to those. But if every other area is shut down, I graduated from school, I pass around from office to office, applying for a job, I can't get a job. The small business I try to do, I hand to move, it can't move. I took loan from the bank with very high interest. Before even the month ends, the bank behind me for something, and my family got issues. I spent some of the bank money, they chasing me. So Then you give me then you give me drug to sell, and I see that easy money. It's gonna be an option. So people will definitely go for such, and that's why you see the drug trade is a big something, and you can't easily beat it because you got people planted everywhere. In the judiciary system, they got people that planted. In the security sector, they got people planted, and all everywhere. So to beat it, it's going to be a tough battle. And I don't want to sit there and tell people that tomorrow morning we're going to fight drug. Me president tomorrow drug that brought be drug free. No.
So, how long, Mr. Pogba, you serve as Deputy Director General for the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. So, it's going to take. You listen to Fubi. It's a gradual process. It's not something that going, according to him, it's not something that's going to be done overnight. So, how long you think this fight can go for?
Yeah, thank you. You see, there's a way to go about this drug issue. As far as we know, we've played around it. There are other countries who have got the same problem as Mr. Henry mentioned, but there's a way they're handling theirs that keep certain things under control, and that is what we need. Because drug is the whole what I told you, a transnational organized crime. They got layers of people who distributing the drugs from different sources, from different countries, and they're coming here. And they're coming from going to other countries. So they're living above borders, across border for that matter. So the system others have, like the judiciary, as you mentioned, the people are straightforward with theirs, where if you are caught, you are there with. The police, why it is true that there is corruption, the key to the drug fight is integrity problem. Drug improprieties has come as a result of corruption from all angles. Everywhere there's corruption. So no matter what you do, you can even start paying the officer good money. But the more somebody get rich, they want to get richer. So I think during the time of the convention I told you about, sometime at the United Nations, they came out for a statement, with a report, and that was approved that if you have $1,000 to spend for the fight against illicit drug in your country, for example, you take 500 and spend it for awareness education, spend 500 for the police and the other law enforcement thing. Because the educated mind will reason, at least to resist. If you start training the children from the beginning and start telling them the danger of drugs, the likelihood that they will get them will be very slim. So the awareness is a key to the whole thing here. No matter how much money you get to people, they will still, in other countries, they book our money, but they still go about the same thing. So the education, and that is why we are here to tell the people the use of drug is dangerous to your health. So don't practice it, don't follow it. So how long it will take is based on how long we'll put our infrastructure together. The policing, the drug law enforcement, the judiciary. And he mentioned about the government. People in high places are involved with drug issues. Business people are involved. And speaking from experience, we arrested people at very high. If I tell you something, you might not believe. We arrested a clergyman who disappeared. I don't want to name somebody here, but I arrested
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I'm aware that there's a big church in this town. Initially, when that church started, we arrested drugs from them, and they were bringing drugs in this country. But how much system we have today? That church is the big church in this country. I tell you, one of the biggest churches. In fact, let me tell you. All right. So the guy who was arrested, he told us, "Look, I'm just the guy from the church." He said, "Look, I'm just small potato. You're away from me. Let my bossman come in." We arrested the guy, but there were people who intervened and took that drugs away. The little one that we caught from that man, that's the only one we got. All right. So there are always people that will fight you when you are fighting the drug dealer and the drug pusher, whatsoever. So the game is not a small game. Everybody have to take off their you got to jump into it and fight, especially the children. Train your children in your house. It starts from your home. Don't allow your children to play with drugs. tell your children to stay away from drugs. These are the way to really calm the drug problem in the country. Because some children get in there unknowingly. So if they get to know that drug is not good, sometimes they will not get there. Why we're fighting to put law enforcement in place, why we're fighting to put the judiciary in order and this and that. But that is the way. So nobody will tell you exact time. It's a gradual process. It can take how many years, but you can start going somewhere when you start good by putting the right thing in the right place. Give money to the security people, let them do their work. Give money to the judiciary to investigate. Lawyers, please don't join into it and try to free the man because the man will get you some kind of kickback. Because once you arrest somebody at the place there, take them to court. Before you make up your mind, in fact, before you investigate that person, the lawyer always standing by to go and free that man from there.
Okay.
Yeah. And they got contact with their own client. They come there, they talk to them, this and that. We explain all of that. So these are the problems.
Okay, so if you are tuning in, this is anti-drug awareness hour. We have panelists or this discussion this afternoon. We are talking about what is the topic again? Drug
trafficking is
drug trafficking,
transnational organized crime.
Yeah. So we are talking about drug trafficking. So drug trafficking is also known as drug distribution.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crime of selling, transporting, or illegally importing unlawful control drugs in a country. So get that is a distribution, drug distribution is the same as drug trafficking. Yeah, okay. So let's get the difference or the differences between drugs and trafficking. Anyone that can help us?
Yes. You said drug is the substance we are talking about, and trafficking is a way of distributing it. If you take drug from here, you carry it to Banga and sell it. You take drug from here, you carry it to Aracos and sell it. You take drug from Aracos, you bring it and sell it. That's trafficking. It's illicit. I mean, it's not a good thing. It's a crime if you do it. It's a criminal thing if you do it. So that trafficking is a criminal activities. You understand that? When you traffic something in that manner, that means you do the wrong thing. It's a crime. So you take contraband, something that is not good. If you take gun, in our own law here in Liberia, if you are not allowed to carry a gun, except specified gun like the single barrel to go there, arrest side, all of that. But when they see you with machine gun, it's illegal. So that is a contraband. Or if you take a gun from here, you go sell it Aracos. You trafficking, you disobeying the gun. These are contraband. Drug is the same thing. You can also traffic human being for that matter. Yes. You take somebody from here, go sell the person in Aracos. Or take somebody from Lufa Kande and sell it in Monrovia. The fact that you take them from one point to another, you are trafficking.
Okay, so all these are transitional organized crime.
Yeah, good.
So they have drug trafficking, migrants smuggling. Yes, counterfeit goods. These are all transnational organized crimes. Is that correct?
You're correct, yeah.
Okay, so let's get this one. Listen to this one from another country.
Young Sierra Leoneans gathered to get their fix. Many are barely in their teens. At around 25 US cents a dose, it's a cheap and easy way to escape reality. Users can be identified by their extreme drowsiness and swaying movements. In the past few years, Kush has wreaked havoc on the lives of many young people in Sierra Leone, one of the poorest countries in the world.
They say I have to purge my body of this substance. Since I started smoking 5 years ago, my body is now addicted to this thing. I have to buy medication, but I don't have the ability to wean myself off it, so it's difficult for me.
Kadiatu started smoking Kush around 5 years ago. Now she resorts to sex work to pay for her addiction. Her body bears the scars of the violence she has suffered, roaming the streets to support her habit.
Man follow me for money before I buy the Kush. Then I get me skin back.
I let men follow me so I can get money to buy Kush. I braid hair too, but I don't do much hair braiding. Sometimes I go to the street to prostitute myself for money so that I can get what I want. Ibrahim Karoma is a social worker. He thinks Kush is one of the most pressing issues facing the young people he works with. He often visits the hideouts where smokers meet up. On this day, Ibrahim speaks to around 100 addicts. The dangers of Kush. There are no official statistics and no studies that have been done on this growing problem, so the real number of people affected remains unknown. But Ibrahim worries. He has seen what this drug can do.
Young people are dying. Young people are dying. We need a speedy and focused strategy to see how young people are taken from this drug intake. But at the moment, it is quite alarming.
In the face of a mounting crisis, the country's only psychiatric hospital is overrun with addicts brought in by their loved ones, hoping to get them clean. According to psychiatry resident Jusu Matia, at least 60% of admissions are linked to Kush addiction, but in the absence of tests, the figure could likely be even higher.
What we see in the hospital is can be likened to the tip of an iceberg, where only the severe cases are being drugs.
All right. So I mean, everyone listen to it.
Very well.
Yeah, it's actually a sad one. But let's go to Mr. Pacquiao. Yeah, Maxime.
Yeah.
Maxime. Yeah, please unmute yourself. So I would like you to tell us about the punishment for traffickers and abusers as far as our laws are concerned.
Well, thank you. Before I go that, yesterday, because I do preaching service here, and from my church, we go to work with prisoners and things, and we had a workshop with them yesterday, and the question you asked about the difference between the drug and the drug trafficking, we even dealt with it yesterday. I got to know that the drug dealing is a colloquial term that is generally refers to a smaller scale drug distribution, charges and things. Why the drug trafficking tends to involve larger scale drug distribution crimes. So, and in that aspect, the both parties, of course, when you are caught, I mean, it doesn't matter, even though it varies as well as far as punishment is concerned from one country to another as to what sort of punishment somebody is supposed to get or so. In Liberia, except the brothers in there will be able to help me, having actually read the kind of a punishment in terms of punishment as to how many years should somebody go to jail. Also, I haven't been informed about that, of which of course I hope we can get to know that soon. Here in the United Kingdom, I know my brothers in there will be able to add up here. Once you are caught, it's up to life imprisonment, depending on the gravity, and of course unlimited fine, or either they put both on you, especially for Class A drug, and then up to 14 years in prison, and unlimited fine for both Class B and Class C drug as well. And because the drugs, I don't know whether in Liberia the drugs law even we have, whether the components are break into classes as well, so that in terms of punishment, maybe one can have lesser, but then one can have more or so. I don't know yet, but I'm sure I'll be educated today. And so it varies from one country to another in terms of punishment, as we are aware. In some other countries, they catch you. You're not. I mean, just leave your own to God. You're going straight for burial or so. In some countries, they do it like that. In some other countries, they put you in jail for certain amount of years or so. In Liberia, I have no idea yet. With respect to your question, I don't know yet. Maybe I'll be told here today. But let me stop there, and then I'll send it back to them.
Yeah, Fubi, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think according to the drugs law recently, I think it's up to 10 years imprisonment for high scale, and I think they get up to 5 years. So
That's fever. That's fever. Yeah, you want to say that again? I didn't get
yeah, I
you,
said I
sir.
think the maximum is up to 10 years imprisonment when charged and convicted for a crime.
Yeah, but Ambassador Nubia supposed to be here to interpret some of these lines because
Those
yeah,
lines are
but
simple.
according to the new law, drug dealers, cultivators, and manufacturers are not eligible for bail until their trial is completed, and if found guilty, will be sentenced to life imprisonment. And it went further to say this is a significant change from the previous law, which allowed individuals charged with drug offenses to be released on bail and sentenced to about 10 years in jail. So the lawmakers moved the
So they
part of
moved
the
from 10 years
government's,
to
yeah. So the lawmakers move is a part of the government's effort to combat yes, so that is it. I don't know. You understood that?
then say it further
Does that
states
have
that the person shall be guilty of felony of the first degree and punishable to a prison of maximum 10 years and not exceeding 20 years, consistent with Penal Code.
Yeah,
Section 5.5 and section 5.6. So it's maximum is 20, minimum 10 years.
Okay, Mr. Papa, you have anything to say when with
Yeah, you were talking about explaining about this non-bailable and you go to jail. To comment on that, as a law enforcement officer, what we do if we caught somebody who is involved in those drug activities, take you to the office and try to investigate. When we realize that you are, in our mind, in our convincing mind that you are guilty, you did. It is no court that can get you guilty. So our convincing evidence that we gather and take you to court, usually the lawyer will go and file bond for you so that you'll be out of jail while the case is going on. But in this case, if they carry to the court, if the case is being pending, you stay be in jail until that case is adjudicated. If it take how many years your case in court, that number of years you stay be in jail until your case is over. Then they will charge you. I mean, they will give you a sentence now for the time you're going to be there. That's why it is.
Right. So yeah,
Magdalene.
let me put Mr. Delta on.
Magdalene.
Yeah, please try to put him on.
Mr. Goy, I wanted to know has
So I think it's following.
the component been breaking down into classes?
I think I'm going to delay his salary.
Anybody?
Yeah, I will delay Mr. Adaman Dempson's salary.
They say that they say they pay the people.
Are you hearing me?
you
That's wonderful. Magdalene is paying all these guys. That's
got a lot of money.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
But we can. I don't know. His internet connection is
Magdalene.
a little bit difficult. All right, but we can go on. Chief, yeah, if you just unmute yourself, if you've been following, you can just
Hello.
give your input because we're about to take calls. We want Liberians to speak. Yes, we say a lot
Magdalene.
about drug trafficking.
It's not hearing
What
me.
the new law says, and
Hello.
yes, sir.
Mr. Goy.
I mean,
yes, sir.
I asked the question. I wanted you to please educate us here today. Oh, hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
can speak.
Yeah, Mr. Goy, I wanted you to help
Let me
us. I
control
want to
something.
understand the drugs. I know when we talk about drugs, they are all breaking into classes as well. In the context of Liberia, do we have similar like other countries where you have class A, class B, class C, and all the way down, or we just put everything together that even if you are caught with kush, or you caught with any other substance or so that's maybe far from class A drug, you still have to face the same punishment. Are they broken down into classes?
You mean according to the new law?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but drugs are categorized in classes, or in schedule they call it. Schedule 1 to 4.
Okay, that how it is breaking down in our own context, right?
Yes. The worldwide, I think that's the way it is.
Yeah,
so,
worldwide.
Because it's being classified under the United Nations.
Right. Okay. But within our own context, what we're talking about here in terms of punishment, does the punishment go across the board? Because I know here in the UK, no, there are certain classes, especially wherein you have all the way class F or so. There are certain punishment you don't have to face it, like how somebody who committed drug offense for class A or class B, it will not be the same punishment. I want trying to understand.
Yeah. Okay. So the clarity is, if you commit a crime, because they are categorized, right? You have some drugs that can be found within medicinal drugs, right? Like the one they got in the drugstore, for example. You got narcotics in the drugstore that people use for medicinal purposes. So if you are caught abusing those kind of drugs, the penalties are there. But if you are caught with raw cocaine, for example, and then the penalty will be different from that of the one you talk about. So the classes go along with the type of drug and the quantity too. If you saw somebody with a pinch of cocaine, or you saw somebody with a barrel of cocaine, you will not penalize in the same way. So I think the judges will have to decide. But the law says, the penalties are not the same. They are classified under that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a young fellow in studio. He's Kowo Kwatu, a student journalist that's on internship. So, Kowo, what's your view about this whole drug issue in Liberia? There are times, sometimes you passing, you see your friends, they are going well because they are, they are taking in these substances.
Yeah. So the issue of drugs is something that we got.
Yeah, go on.
Take very seriously, actually, because almost everywhere you pass down, there is no community in Liberia who tell you they don't have drugs at it. In the sense that even party now is drugs. So sometimes you gotta be careful with people. They say, "Oh, that party geeking you." When they say the party geeking, you should be careful. Yeah, you should be careful because that's the thing people are consuming. Take it to be fun, actually. So, and the issue they are discussing about trafficking is something that almost all of the kids done carrying it. The last time I was sitting to the tea shop trying to get one or two. A guy came. I just saw him with a tablet. Take it in less than 5 minutes. The guy just started sweating. Only to realize, because he dropped the pack. So when he left, I picked up the pack. Only to realize that was tramadol. The man took 6 pieces of that in my pressing. He sweat.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, now it's most of the time people tell you, say, "Oh, having show when you make," because some of us they don't know the kind of thing we engage in, right? So when we go there, almost feel like we're normally with them, we do the thing they do. So you hear somebody saying, "My man, I got spark and that, spark and do this, spark and this."
The papers,
yeah. Especially the kush, the man will tell you, say, kush is around, and the man will get in picture or get in the plastic. Boys, men, the movie with it. You just see the other person go to the person, show them the money, they get in the photo, the plastic wrap in white, the person gone.
Okay. All right, so let's listen to this one before we can start to take calls. Yeah. I don't know. You're getting it?
Yeah.
You're getting him? Oh, okay. He got children. He said he can take 50 so that tablet, my people, help me. How they cool the whole push thing looking.
Yeah, so the issue about the kush is on leaf, right? The missile and another chemical. So the smoke is just the way they do the opium too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it look like.
And you can just make them happy. So listen to this other guy.
Exactly. You approve from Abel. I post all this. What about the other? Young people they say they shouldn't post up it.
You know, it sounds
Maybe I was
funny. I mean, the guy has actually lost his voice. I know that the voice or his speech or something there is missing.
You know, that drug it can destroy you gradually. So your speech first.
It's eating him up. So we I went up. Kopo took his number, but earlier he listened to the Kush audio from Sierra Leone. Is Kopo who did that, and I'm working along with a lot of them. They go do interview. They help me with all of these audios, and I want to appreciate them so much. Thanks to Arthur Butler, who is also behind the camera, and this other where is it? Mayan. Yeah, Mayan, they are all helping to ensure that this program is set up. Okay, thanks to Richard. Richard, what is his last name? Okay, Richard. Richard is also help a lot. So I just want to appreciate all of you. So we're about to take calls. I don't want to forget at the end of it. I don't want to forget. So we're going to take calls. But before we can take calls, who are the victims of drug trafficking? So I want Maxine to answer the question here. Maxine, I want you to answer the question. Who are the victims of drug trafficking?
I think basically the end users and addicts. I mean, if I want to put it blunt, the end users and the addicts are the main victims, not those that are actually pushing it to get the money. For them, they want to get the money and build their mansions and things. But the end users and the addicts.
All right, so I will read. You want to contribute?
We are also victims too, because sometimes they can palm our phone, they can palm our money, they can palm our little, they can take our battery and all they call it shadow man. So I don't understand. I think God cool give me.
Yeah. So they get so desperate. They get so desperate, and you listen to the lady. She had to do sex prostitution to support her habit. So you will find out that people will engage in violent activities, criminal activities, just because they want to support their habit. So we too, we are all victims. So we are victims because it's a serious. It poses serious threats to national security. So like for us, we I mean, moving about and if you say like like breast just too safe. Yeah. It is not too safe because you have people taking in drugs, and anybody could be victim. So I think we do Golden Puppet. Yeah, let's begin taking calls. Yeah. Yes, sir. Roger, you eat?
If you want to speak prayer for yesterday, you will not know if you have a very, Lord, our but let you talk. If you do your own survey, far more at the entertainment center. Come in here, with people who are very good, some you could not even know where to go. Seeing ghetto and stay around. So we just want to call the national government to launch a video search for us steals. We are aware that wherever it's but there be some measure so that you will try to stop it, but that there's still the distribution of drugs, from where it comes from. But if you get the street in very loops and corner of Monrovia, you will get to know the reality of what I'm seeing. Because life is very damaged. People who want to be in all family, close when you read behind all over the community. So I mean, the government
okay.
To get more on it so that the issue will be continued. When we're putting in the opportunity.
Okay, Golden Puppet. Hello. Yeah, Mama. Amen. Okay. All right.
In the water, because the money in the water. We're picking up the door that we sponsor for the thing. We the person we made. We check out to confess. Now we are doing for the being.
Okay. All right, man. Okay. Thanks for placing your call. Oh my God, they even you. Yeah, all you took your number now, got it. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Magdalene.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't to read your text, so you have the opportunity now.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much for taking my call. Magdalene, one of the gentlemen over there said that there are big hands behind this, and he spoke about churches, how he arrested people from the church. But take a look and see how many big people in jail. How many people in jail. Big hands behind these things. Our children are dying all over this place. People are getting themselves hooked up with this drug. In the United States, there was a guy when they had the crack cocaine. He took that stuff, came to our store. He squatted down looking for sneakers. The guy practically fell asleep, swaying from one side to the next. It is so fast in the destruction. I don't understand why anybody in their right mind will input drugs to kill our children here. Look at the educational sector. Look at the jobs. Nobody's working. The educational system has failed. And here we are importing drugs to make it even worse. Can you imagine your child standing in front of you and swinging from one side to the next? There's no way. He has no idea where he's at. We are dying. Because if our children die, we die too. Thank you for taking my call, and thanks to those gentlemen on the studio.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thanks for placing in your call. Hello.
Yeah. How are you, Magdalene?
Yes, sir. It's good to have you on.
Okay. Before we come back on the room, Magdalene, I have two concerns. It's very serious. One has to do with your function from the grade 1 you taught.
Yeah.
And you listen, you attend, reason why he in the street, loading car. I think he didn't give you any good reason. I think the only important thing he talked to you on, you asked him where he lived, and he said he still live where people. Then you asked him what it costs to get him off the street, to stop loading cars, and other friends of him were telling you the kind of drugs he's taking. So I would strongly recommend to you, Magdalene, get to the parents of this young man at the Rock Hill there where he said he lived, and get good information from the parents and see where you can start to help the young man from, so you can be off the street, so at least his life will be safe, so that he can die from anything that push.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. So this okay.
Okay. My other concern has to do with the DEA or in people that with you.
Yeah, a former.
Oh,
former.
Okay.
Yeah, former Deputy Director General.
I appreciate his name. All you know that we need to do to what it called, but I think we need to add something to all of the recommendations. One of the recommendations, the government recruiting security or people within the DA, so they do some wrong recruitment. You will not believe we saw people who are from the United States of America who were deported. Deported into the DEA. So when the people when you guys go to test drugs or arrest people from various ghettos, naturally, people will take the drugs, go and open one ghetto and put people there to sell or another ghetto. Naturally, we still not fighting drugs. Besides, we got the biggest ghetto in the country. I don't want to call it, but that ghetto is real.
I don't even know you probably know the big me, Baba, let me go. I beg you. Let me go. Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, Chief.
I'm struggling here to hear this person.
You're struggling to hear him, eh? Sorry, let me work on it. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Let me say thank you to him, but like I was one of five for me as office single. The man that told me, he said, Babi, so saw a guy, that's what they call SPAC, so they got SPAC. So they call it, he said, the plastic guy call it SPAC. So I said, well, which one is SPAC? He said, they can make it to stay something away like so, like no rubber. So the guy said, we have more people getting into the drugs on a daily basis than those that come out of the drugs. So my whole take here is, it is good to name and shame people, not about who they are, because if we are our leaders who always accusing big hands, we cannot even shame them, then we get nowhere. So he said, on church, can you imagine an integrity institution that it should be? That name is on church, that name will not call, and then that is, he's not saying the truth to us. Just say something just so that we can hear something from him. But if he's very serious, we will hear the church name, and then we'll know who they're bringing drugs in this country, because the drug law has been passed, and we must know who are bringing drugs, and they should be prosecuted for it, because if not, if you hear myself, Madeleine, you'll not even have peace. Go to that station the next morning. Trust me.
No.
We sometimes talk about.
He at the time he held this position as Deputy Director General for Administration. So now he's out of the position, and yeah, I mean, yeah.
At that time, if you call that church name now, it will cause no harm. Or if you call that in,
So you say.
No, but what before we call him here, myself have to do the investigation to know. So we'll have to go back to all those who were involved and ask them.
Then trust me, my daughter, you know me, as you take it the battle of this issue of exposing people or people, I will continue to ask you questions on the need of this job because we need to know people who look, one of these people, almost like what we always say about the war. When war broke out in Liberia to make up for it, those who begin to want a job be out of the country, then we will be the victim of it.
All right.
The drugs that is being prolific around here. Our children suffer for it while their children enjoy the benefit, the money that they are sending the drugs for. Their children living on it.
Yeah. I'm not disputing the fact. Even we hosted a fellow here before, he said when they went to do the testing, they went to a school to do testing. The principal and the students, all of them have substance in their system. Yeah, right here. I mean, it's funny, but it's very serious. So okay, so we doing our investigation before we can. Okay, all right. Okay, I might rather go to do the investigation. I will pass on you so two all can go. All right, sir. Thanks for placing your call. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is Dr. Quinn. You calling from Toronto?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the program. You know, the other time you had a program and somebody was saying that they should test all of the BD in the country. I think that would be one video that we can start for. And two, to that, let's try the TA. I don't know, I think, but I heard a larger project, they had 100,000 for GA. And if that was true for the 15 countries, I don't think we made business.
It's a drop in the ocean.
See? So our people have to be very tough.
Okay. All right, so let me take yes, sir. Thanks for placing your call. Let me take Emmett Hammer. Yeah. Yes, sir. Our peace ambassador. Yes, sir.
Also, you too, because you are living with us. You not just someone from grade school, or the children all play. Encourage him to live, and you have one student be one of those things. Madeline, I don't worry some. Because every now and then our children are being abused by drugs. And let me appreciate the president of finding out drugs law. But my worry is the implementation. Because the implementation is one of the most important things. Because now most of these cars in our the drug and the drug implement agency, these guys will be tested first and be equipped. Because most of the guys who arrest the guys at drug mission, to tell you your father and pastor our system.
Yeah.
People for other places. So it's a national call to everyone. You even give them a son of job. Everything guys are recruiting our children today, our children at the end of the job. God, you can for the children who are paying the cap for journalists or other professional places. What will be our country? So you come with all the raise our welfare, let it just be
okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so kindly. We will some days come to Kakata to talk with the young people there. We want to find out too what's actually get ready for us, Liberia. We don't only intend to sit in a cool studio, but we intend to go out and talk to our brothers and sisters who are victims of these substances. Yeah, hello. Sir, it's good to have you on. But what did happen about that? Can be running in your background there? Oh, Chief.
Thank you for the program that you brought up today on the trust issue. Madeline, to my surprise, my pastor called me and told me, say, when I hear today, I do what I say, This Ugo boys came to me and told me that if I call it's to happy and we don't stay in this country, right after election they will be brave, they will come to war and take left and take our belongings and carry it because that's my friend to where I live behind the truck. To the last time they focused on the guy are rebuilding. One of the things that the government should do here, all the political leaders that power that everywhere they put in the community, let us bring it down. I think that will help. But now, if you do it, this deal like giving the government resources to sell, we change to go and you find yourself behind. When the government pass that law, look, the thing they call human rights, sometimes got to forget about it. You're not doing the alien between when he become man or one or two. You need to flop the guy at the end of the day, they can exactly start selling around medicine or whatever. Never need to see them to where they're in the street. But you know, right,
all right. So just be on the line. I don't know whether you have sufficient credit, but the human right advocate is on the panel, and he's been struggling with internet. But let him respond to you and to what you just said. Yeah, just remain on. Mr. Dempster, are you there? Can you please unmute yourself?
Good afternoon, Madeline, and good afternoon to all of my fellow panelists on this show.
Yeah, are you getting him, Mr. Lombard? Yeah, Mr. Dempster, did you get him? Did you get his point?
Well, I only got the aspect of forgetting about human rights, but I think the rather weigh in on what his specific concern is, and then I can come with the human rights based approach and the response that will be from the human rights standpoint with regard to his concern.
All right, let me
talking about demolishing ghettos. Is that right, Mr. Robert? Yeah, working along with community leaders to demolish ghettos.
So let's go back. If he's saying that demolishing ghettos will be a solution to reducing or eradicating drugs in our society, I would disagree with him because I live on the Rawatsby Highway and I see.
Can you please unmute yourself, Mr. Lomi? Your background is so noisy. I don't know why you guys are parking at the campaign headquarters.
Hello?
Okay,
Hello?
okay. Just hold on. Yes, sir. Yeah, you loud.
Yeah, so I said that, so if he's focusing his concern just on breaking down ghettos, then of course the next concern would be going to the graveyards, the various graveyards within our community or environment to start to see how we destroy the graveyards. So the issue about the drugs users and taking drugs is just not concentrated around ghettos alone. So the rigorous action approach that will help to eradicate or minimize the use of drugs and substances within our country need to be holistic. So the government have had a law that is being signed. We say, okay, thumbs up to the government. Implementation, I think my colleagues is still everyone waiting on the issue of implementation because we don't have a good record when it comes to implementation. And of course, moreover, previously when I spoke on the drugs issue, Madeline, on your show at the time, you have not started this platform. I highlighted the issue of security, the issue of the legal implication, and the issue of the health component. So those are things that I think we should tackle. People who are in the business of importing drugs, can we identify them? Can there be investigation to be identified those who importing drugs in the country? Who are those behind the importation of drugs? Another thing is that we need to have a strong, robust, and credible security system that will be up to tax to go after the real guys who are importing drugs. And moreover, there had to also be a credible prosecution pathway to be able to prosecute and not happen the way the 100 million drugs case just went in thin air and none of us cannot give a conclusion, full grown conclusion on the real outcome. And then the mental aspect. You find out that a youthful population within this country, we are losing them by the day only because of drugs. So there's a national issue, it's a transnational issue that we're talking about our borders, our neighbors around here. All these are things that once Liberia gets all of hand, it flow into the next neighbor country. And of course, it becomes a whole crusade of course, it becomes a serious problem. It is a serious problem. So I just love to just weigh in. I know my colleagues have been saying a lot on our show. I want to apologize for not being around. I promise that I could be the substitute panelist when someone is not there on the day. Then I get appear because we are preparing a very huge 20-year anniversary of the CPA. Since we signed the CPA, it is 20-year August 18. I'm working with some experts to have.
Comprehensive peace agreement.
I'm talking about the comprehensive peace agreement that was signed in 2003. What has happened between 2003 to 2003 to 2023? What has happened between the period? We actually have a reflection. So we're preparing for that. So we have a real organizing of that event. That is why I took off more time in these few days. But I will be around and I can be the substitute panelist to join the council, my own brother, Bakio, Ambassador, Phoebe, and the other guys so that we can be able to contribute in a positive way.
Okay, thanks for your contribution. It's 5 o'clock on the dot, and we want to appreciate all of you for your contribution. Thanks to our callers, those who did not make it through. We sincerely apologize. Let me read a few comments. This is one of my this is my bad not reading comments. I sincerely apologize. We want to say thank you too, because you actually take up your time to use your data to get us line. Good afternoon. He's Alfred. He's following from electoral district number 9. That's Phoebe Harris district. I think Monserrato. No, he said Nima. Okay, I'm sorry, Nima. Duncan William Gay. I'm following from Grand Bassa County, Buchanan. Toby Wilson. He said I'm following from Congo Town. Abraham Dua. I'm following from Coca-Cola Factory. TZ. Zacchaeus Cole from Yekepa. Harris Keita is Kenta. Okay, Kenta. I'm following from LPRC Freeport. Hillary Austin Jua and says, good afternoon, says Madeline. You are taking a good stance on this drug issue. Yes, it's all for everyone of us. And Luscious Peter Flomo Jr. Good afternoon, says Madeline. I'm watching for unification. City Lower Margibi. Can you is that all? Okay. So we'll go back to our panelists. We'll give them 1 minute each, and we'll begin with Maxime. 1 minute each. 1 minute each, because it's 5 o'clock on the dot. So 1 minute each. If possible, 30 seconds. Maxime. Yeah, Maxime.
Thanks for the invitation. It was a pleasure being a part, and I'm looking forward for another time to come back. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much for joining us and out of your contribution. Yeah, let's deal with those online, Mr. Dempster, Mr. Adama Kiatama Dempster. Can you please unmute yourself? Okay, Hubi?
Okay, yeah, so to the point of the breaking down ghettos, I agree with Adama, that's not a solution, and I've always been against that, because you have these DA guys, they go to some of them, they go to these ghettos, they raid these ghettos and steal from the guys that are there, and at the end of the day, the drugs is recycled from one ghetto to another, and they have informers. They themselves are partaking in the drug stuff. We got some of them that are heavily into drugs dealing and even the usage of it. So I'm more on the rehabilitation point. I hope that we can have that as a topic next time. But thanks for the platform. Let's keep raising the awareness.
Well, thank you very much for this occasion today again. We are happy that we came to inform our people that they should stay away from drugs. I want to appeal to our mothers and fathers. I mean, you have to do it for yourself. Take care of your children. Talk to the children. Try to get them away from drugs. Do not keep drug dealer in your house. Do not allow them to stay in your house. Don't allow your children to distribute drugs for anybody. I mean, that will help the process. So thank you very much for the program today. We hope to come another time again.
Mr. Dempster, you ready now? You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Please,
Yeah, he trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Closing up now.
Yeah. So I mean. The process of this whole campaign, it can be a 1 day, 1 month process. So it's a holistic approach. So I think with the conversation that I've started, will help us to just move from studio to even visit some of the communities that are affected, and then maybe even interact with some of the direct, users of drugs to really ascertain some of the condition, what happening to most of them, what are the outcomes. Of course, the pathway to how drugs come into this country is also important, that we also have a clear knowledge about it. So the conversation just beginning now. I think we just need to put more energy and more time, and so that we can spread the news and help government to push government to take the necessary action that will allow us to go beyond the issue of drugs that is being highly, highly alarming in our society. Thank you.
All right, thanks so to everyone. This is he raised us a wonderful point. We are having discussions how to get out of our comfort zone and interact with some of these users. Yes. You want me to read this other comment? Where are we now? Okay, Mohammed Rogers. Yes, thanks for following Ansel Coleman. Thanks for following G. Pierre Junior Avin. Thank you, Emmett Hammer. You called as well. Fire Boaka. Thanks so kindly for following Alfred Wonlet. Yeah, just go down. And Duncan William Gay. Okay, yes, that's it. So on that note, this is how we come to the end of the anti-drug awareness hour. We'll see next week. Yeah, next week is going to be the first Thursday in August, right? Yeah, next week is the so please join us tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Business and Economic Forum is going to be here. We're going to have wonderful guests and wonderful panelists as well. And we also want to create a space where women too can be a panelist. So please, if you are a woman, it doesn't matter your English. Please, you can come and we can discuss the issue. Like our mother keep calling back and forth today. Please, I have been placing calls, asking women to come on board. We all have to talk about all of these things. So on that note, we'll see on tomorrow.